Are you a solopreneur looking to 2 times your revenue to fund your lifestyle and give back? Well, this podcast is for you. We bring you inspirational guests sharing actionable tips to solve many of the struggles you face each and every day. And now over to your host, Paul Higgins.
Hello to the Build, Live, Give podcast. If you're a first-time listener, welcome. And if you enjoy it, please subscribe. If you're a regular, thanks for your support. Love to get your feedback at paul@buildlivegive.com. It means the world to me when you do. Our guest today is someone who worked as a BD role or worked in business development, but felt there was not enough freedom. So they took the leap to both move countries and also start their own business. After running out of money, they completely ran out of money and they were about to give it all up when one launch completely changed their life. They have 14 years of experience in helping people to get greater engagement on video, which is so important these days. So why listen? One is the guest goes through the formats which work best on different social platforms, essential elements to have in your videos, and some killer frameworks to improve your content. They've also kindly given access to their platform where you can spend as little as 80 seconds to get 4 professionally designed videos having both header and captions. So now over to Gideon Shalwick from Splasheo. Welcome, Gideon Shalwick from Splasheo to the Build, Live, Give podcast. Great to have you here, Gideon.
Awesome to be here. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, look, so am I. I've heard so much about your product and I've actually done a trial. So very excited to ask you questions, but I just know video is so hot at the moment as well. So really keen to get your experience. But before we start all of that, why don't we start with something that your family or friends know about you that we wouldn't?
I have a bald spot that my 9-year-old and 4-year-old points out to me every morning. Well, not every morning, but regularly enough for me to be concerned.
Yeah, you've got to stop bending over.
Yeah, you can't see it from the front. It's like only from the back. But I tell them that it doesn't actually exist. If you can't see it, then it doesn't exist. So I'm good.
Very good. And this is an inherited bald spot or something?
Actually, my dad's completely bald and my oldest brother is completely bald. So I think I'm lucky that I'm 42 and I still have hair left. Yeah.
Well, I always joke because I choose to shave my hair. I used to be a keen cyclist. So it was just easier not to have had hair. And then I had a motorbike. And when I went to meetings, once again, easier. But now I've just continued it. So I used to always say that once I was bald and grey, I'd have nothing to worry about. So I'm there well and truly. Excellent. And look, I know you've run 2 very successful businesses, one to do with YouTube ads and then obviously what you're running now, which we'll talk about more. But just tell us a little bit how you got into running your own businesses.
Oh gosh, it was about 16 years ago. I was in a job back in New Zealand, and it was a job that I was, it was a good job. I was qualified for it. I was studied about 5 years, and then I went to work for about 5 years. So the job that I was in was a good job.
What sort of job was it?
That job was a business development job for a research and development company in New Zealand.
Okay, and
it was for a video image processing software. I had to help commercialize it. So it was a great experience, but I felt kind of stuck because I had to operate within the limits of another company, and I just didn't feel like I could do my own. I couldn't do my own thing, So we decided to meet. Well, one day I just woke up and told my wife Tinika, "Hey, let's. I don't like what I'm doing here. Let's quit our jobs and emigrate to Australia and start a whole new life there." And she was keen. And at first we thought, okay, well, we need to get a job or something to get into Australia. And so I started applying for jobs, and I couldn't get anything. And after about 3 months, and I said, "Hey, Tinika, you better start." And so she did. Within a week, she got 3 job offers. And then within a month, we were in Australia. So I couldn't actually get a job in Australia, but just as well, while Tinika was working, I then started looking at what sort of business I wanted to create. And I looked at a whole bunch of things. Ended up settling on writing a book and promoted the book through my first joint venture partner. Made some sales, and I thought, this is incredible. I can just work from my living room and make a living from it. And it looks so good. But then I ran out of traffic. I ran out of eyeballs to my little website because I didn't know anything about online business or building traffic or, business for that matter. And the business started dying. I only had that first bit of money coming in and then nothing. And cut a long story short, it took me basically about 2.5 years of trying thing after the next to see if that would work. We got to a point where, there was very little money coming in. All my wife's money was going into our living expenses. We didn't have a car. We, had to walk everywhere. We took the train. We lived like on the train, literally on the train station. The train tracks went underneath our building. And so we always got woken up at least once a night by the diesel trains coming through there in central Brisbane. And and we got to a point where it was like pretty despondent, like this kind of sucks. I thought I'd be able to make my salary back within the first year, and I didn't. And one of the things I did was I started interviewing people relatively early on how they become successful in the internet space. And one of the people I interviewed was a friend of mine in Brisbane, Yaro Starak. And towards that point there that I was thinking, I'm going to give up now and go back to New Zealand or whatever, or get a job, Yaro asked me to do a project together with him called Become a Blogger. Anyway, we created these series of 10 videos. I created them, and because I became good at the video thing during that time. And, we launched that for free. We had, within 6 months, 300,000 downloads. And then we actually launched a membership off the back of that. Within 2 weeks, we had 10,000 people join our email database. And within a month, we had about $23,000 coming in per month, which was awesome. Like going from pretty much earning nothing to earning a bit of a living was life-changing, to say the least. And then that was my breakthrough. That was the breakthrough that I needed. And then from then, I just did video project after video project, for the last 14 years. And today, I'm with Splasheo, and it's still within the video space, and loving every single bit of it.
Excellent. And have you authored another book, or was it first time?
Well, I actually ended up writing about, I forget how many, but it was like, and I'm not sure how you should count them. Like, is an ebook a real book, or is it, or not? But if you count the ebooks, it's probably around about 6 books that I wrote, and at least 2 of them self-published. So physical books, so yes. I guess 2 real books and 4 imaginary books.
Yeah, well, look, prior to October last year, I would have said that an ebook counts, but after now writing one, I'll definitely say an ebook doesn't count. So I'm glad you've got 2. You've one more than me, and I've committed to write 3. So I'm using every excuse, COVID, you name it, not to start the second one.
Right.
Yeah, so that's great. And look, I suppose that's one of the great things with tenacity is that, just when you think it's time to give up, something does come your way. What was there a time though when you thought, like if this last Become a Blogger didn't work, that you would have to go back to corporate or to a paid job?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like you can't go on for that long without any successes. You lose courage. And I'm trying to think back to those days. What was it that pulled me through? I mean, certainly my immediate mastermind, which was just me and my wife, Tineke, that was incredible. Just if it wasn't for her, I never would have been able to do this. I never would have been able to set up a business, and then eventually she would come and help me, and quit her job. And so that was critical. The other thing I think which was very useful was having a wider circle of like-minded people as well. And that took a while to build up. Yaro was one of the first people I sort of became friends with there in Brisbane. And he knew a bunch of other people that I became friends with as well. And I think just having that sort of support frame of other entrepreneurs was very useful. I mean, you're kind of like an eagle when you become an entrepreneur. You sort of fly alone, but you also have other eagle friends, that you see them going through similar things, and you're friends with them, but you even though you're friends, you're still flying alone, but you have that sort of moral support from them, which I think is really useful.
Yeah, look, I think it's really well said. And I normally ask people, what's a piece of advice that you've got from a mentor or a coach, etc. But I think just having someone, I think, is really valuable advice that you've given. And if you're listening now and you are doing it difficult, especially in these current times with COVID, when this is going to be launched, it's the most uncertainty I've ever faced in my life. And I think for most people, it's the same. That's when it's time to really turn to a group of people that you can share your experience and they can share theirs with them. And I know for me, I run a large community focused on LinkedIn at the moment, and it's just amazing the support that we give each other. So I think that's fantastic. Yeah. But what I'd love to do is learn a little bit more about Splasheo. So we'll go into the build section now. So when someone asks you, hey Gideon, what is Splasheo? What do you do? Who do you do it for? How do you answer that?
Well, at the core of it, we help people realize the value that they have, and then help them turn those into valuable video snippets that they can, social media video snippets that they can publish on social media and build a brand around themselves. And so the way we do that is with, people submit their videos to us, and then we transcribe them and then burn those as captions into their videos, and then format them into a really attractive, eye-catching format that works really, really well on social media. I mean, a lot of you have probably seen Gary Vee style, social media videos where you've got the headline at the top and then, the content in your video in the middle and then your captions down the bottom. So that's exactly what we do for you. You just give us your raw video and then we process that for you and send you back the finished video the next day, and you can publish that on social media.
Excellent. So I give you the raw video, and then is it, done by AI? Is it done by your team? Who actually processes the captions, etc., on the videos?
Yeah, we've done a lot of research and testing on this. And, the key thing for us is that we want to take work away from our clients. We don't want to give them more work. So we thought, should we create software here and then basically get our clients to do the work? And we said, no, we don't want to do that. We actually want to take the work away. I mean, the whole goal of our platform is that it should only take you about 20 seconds to submit a video once you've got your profile set up. Only 20 seconds of your time to submit the video. From there, it goes to our team. And then, there's at least 4 people that'll look at your video, that'll touch your video throughout the process to get it finished. The first person does the transcription. Second person does the review of that transcription to make sure that it's all correct and, all the T's are crosses and the I's are dotted. Then the third person does the actual video editing where they burn the video, the captions into the video and get all the formatting correct. And then the fourth person does the final review. If there's any mistakes, they send it back to the team. If it's ready to go, send it out to the clients. And that all takes about 24 hours. So we've opted for the human one, so that, we do the work instead of you. So that, and our clients love it. It just means they get so much more time to just hone in on the important things for growing their business, as opposed to sitting there trying to figure out the captions, or editing the video. We just take care of all that stuff for you.
Yeah, and look, I'll put my hand up. I'm definitely one of those in the past where I use that as an excuse not to do it. So it wasn't the real excuse. The real excuse is that I didn't like seeing myself on video, which I'm sure, there's no one else in the world feels that way. But, it was easy, right? It was easy for me to say, well, I don't know who's going to edit it. I don't know what platform to put it on. I don't know how to get captions on it quick enough. All of those things. So I think your service is brilliant. Now, most of the videos that you get from your clients, where do they go? Do they go on social media platforms? Where are they headed once they've been given back by you?
So we don't see where everybody publish their videos. We don't see where our clients publish their videos unless they tell us or they make friends with me on Facebook or LinkedIn. Then I can see. But my guess is that a lot of it goes to one or all of the following 3. LinkedIn is a big one. Then Facebook's probably second, and then third might be Instagram. I'm not sure about the numbers. I'm sort of guessing here, right? Because we don't know where they all publish.
Yes. But
that would be my guess, just sort of from reading between the lines, chatting to people and the questions they ask. And then, some would go to YouTube as well. As we have templates for YouTube too. Yeah.
Yeah, and if I particularly look at, say, LinkedIn and Instagram, where I know a lot of people listening at the moment, particularly LinkedIn, they're looking to post more and more video. Is there nuances? So, what you do on a LinkedIn video, does it need to be the same or different, for example, what you do on an Instagram post?
Yeah, I think they're fairly different platforms. I mean, it probably depends a bit on your audiences there as well. If there are similar audiences that you're attracting, the actual content can probably stay pretty much the same. You don't have to have a separate recording for each platform, I don't think. But where it does become different is maybe with the video length and the format. So let's talk about Instagram first and then LinkedIn. So if you're only publishing or let's say you're publishing to Instagram, right? You've got basically 2 options there. Either if you publish to the normal Instagram, you've got a 1-minute limit. Your video can only be 1 minute long. And for that format, the best format we found is Square, either Square or what Facebook calls portrait. We don't really call it portrait, but we do, but I don't think it really is portrait, but it's a 4:5 aspect ratio, which looks really nice on mobile. But it doesn't look good on desktop again, so it depends on what you want to do. So we just say, let's go with Square, because that gives you the most options, and it looks great on mobile and desktop. It's great. Now, if your videos are going to be longer than 1 minute, what you can do is just use IGTV, right? And then for that, we've got a special dedicated template that puts your video into a proper portrait format. It's a 9:16 ratio format. That's perfect for IGTV. But the way we set it up is so that the 1 minute preview on the normal Instagram still looks like a normal Square video, and you still see the headline, your content in the captions in the preview, and then people can just click on it and then go over to IGTV to watch the rest of the video. So if your videos, the short of it is that if your videos are less than a minute, do Square on Instagram. If it's over a minute, do the 9:16 ratio portrait and go into IGTV. Boom, you're done.
Excellent. And LinkedIn. What about LinkedIn?
Much shorter answer. Just go Square, and you'll be sweet.
Okay, cool. And length?
Yeah. Lengthwise, from what I can tell, I mean, LinkedIn, I think people are busy on, a lot of professionals on LinkedIn, and if your video is like more than 2 minutes, people sort of think twice about watching. And again, it's that sort of scrolling the feed, dilemma that you have as a content creator, because you're competing against all the other content that comes up in the feed, and as people are scrolling through the feed, either with their thumb on the mobile device or with their mouse on desktop, there's other content comes up. It competes with you, and so there's a lot of things subconsciously that viewers look at. They look at the length of your video. They look at other engagement factors, whether you've got any views or any other comments or likes. There's also other things like, what we build into the templates, like, do you have a good, strong headline that stops people in their tracks, stop them scrolling? Do you have good, readable and engaging captions on your video that people can read as the video autoplays on silent? So, like 85% people watch their videos on silent play on the feed these days. So you've got to have captions. There's no doubt about that. So I think around 2 minutes is what I've seen a lot of people say. Maybe 1 minute might be even better. It certainly seems like on LinkedIn, the shorter, more nuggets of wisdom kind of videos are the ones that do better.
Yeah, and look, we've certainly found that. And I think it's a combination of having, the right amount of summary text, because I'm with you, like the headline is everything. So, a view, or certainly a view of text is only, scrolling a news feed. But with a video, it's got to be 3 seconds that is considered a view. So you do know that someone's open and engaged, but often the headline in the text part of the post and the video is what captures it. And I know some people have said, look, if there's captions or brand, etc., it might look like it's too professional and too sales-based, and therefore they get less views versus a more native video. What are your thoughts on that, or what's the data to prove or disprove?
I would like to see data on it. It's almost impossible to test that. How would you? I'm not aware of running a split test on a personal profile on LinkedIn. It's impossible, as far as I know. It's probably a bit of someone that thought something and thought that's a good idea and then sort of became popularized. My opinion, and it's not based on any testing or anything, but just from my experience, I've been in the industry for 14 years now, and I've seen what works and I've seen what doesn't work. I've published a lot of video. We see the videos that our clients publish, and we did the whole thing with V-roll as well, where we got to about 24 million video ads placed. And you start seeing trends. You start seeing things that work, and I think there is a case for not looking too professional and too polished, because it can put people off and go, okay, these guys they spend too much time on this. They're trying to sell me something. There's a balance between that and then being too unprofessional and people going, this guy's or this lady is, I don't want to do business with them. They're obviously not making any money if their production is so poor. So I think there's something in the middle that works really well, where you can have a very simple video recording, but then wrap it in a nice frame, with a good headline and captions, and you're away. And it doesn't take any effort, So
look, I know anecdotally for me, a well-designed with captions definitely gets more views from my anecdotal evidence on my profile. And, I get, for me, I've got about 13,000 followers, and I, normally get for a video post around 2,500 views a post. So,
Right.
it's good numbers for me anyway to prove that works. And you said what works, right? Now, I'm sure everyone listening right now is just dying to know what you know about videos that work versus ones that don't. Give us your 14 years or 16 years history.
Just to carry on from what you said earlier in terms of doing split tests. See, what has been done is split testing. You can do this with ads, right? You can split test a video that has captions and a video that doesn't have captions, and this has been done.
Yes.
And I forget the link right now, but this company, I think it was Unbounce, that did this test where they compared a video with captions with one without captions. And it wasn't even burnt in captions, it was just like the native captions that they added. And every single time the video with captions performed far better than the one without captions. So there's undeniable sort of testing proof there that it does make a difference for engagement. There's no doubt about that. But then the question of how professional it looks, that's again another question. And just sort of to not correct myself, but it's a different scenario. Like if you are running actual ads, like on Facebook, or using your business page on LinkedIn. I'm not sure about LinkedIn, but certainly on Facebook, you should be able to run some sort of split test to compare the difference in performance. But if it's just on your personal profile on LinkedIn, I'm not aware of a way to split test that. So that's where that comment came from.
Yeah, but and look, certainly if the majority are watching it on mobiles, I think 60% of people for LinkedIn, I know, is mobile use, and that's creeping up. And, if they're doing, what did you say the percent is silent?
Facebook says 85% of people who watch.
So LinkedIn may be a little bit less, but still, it's pretty obvious. You need captions. Captions on your videos. And so back to the work well question. Love to get your experience here.
Yeah. So I think for me, the bottom line is really knowing your clients really well and what it is that they want. What are they struggling with? What are their problems and frustrations? And then creating content that a video content that responds to that and solves it to as big as a degree as you can, afford with your business. So I think that goes without saying, that you've got to have content that engages, and content that engages is where you truly connect with your audience. And to connect with them, you've got to create something that's valuable. And in this sense, it's solving problems quite often, So that's one really, really good way of creating engaging content. It's just making sure you are actually targeting those pain points. One key thing to think about, just as an aside, is that it's not always just about how-to sort of videos and explaining stuff and being the teacher. I think there's a lot to be said about thinking how you can connect with your viewers as well, and creating your videos and appearing on your videos in such a way that you truly connect with people. That's really what it ultimately comes down to. If you compare two videos with exactly the same content, on the one video, it's a person that reads it off a script and there's no intonation in their voice, and it's just like a robot and they're not even making eye contact. Compared to another video where there's someone there with emotion, and they look people in the eye, so to speak, through the lens of the camera, and they truly connect with the other person viewing it. It seems obvious which one is going to get a better result in terms of connection and building an audience. So I think there's a lot you can do for making your content more engaging, aside from just the actual content of the video. Yeah, then there are other engagement factors, like I said, like we've covered already basically, but creating a really good, compelling headline for your content, especially if you get into the format that will help you create with the headline is actually burnt into the video. It's part of your video, and then the captions down the bottom. I think just adding those two things can dramatically improve the effectiveness, engagement of your videos. And it's like any informational piece, the better your headline is, the better the introduction is, the first few seconds of your video, the better chance you're going to have of grabbing people. If you're a follower of copywriters, they often talk about how some of the world's best copywriters would spend 80% of their time on just the headline. And, you can ask yourself the question, if you do that for your videos, do you spend 80% of your time on just thinking about the headline? And that's, worth thinking about. So it can make a really big difference. But then, of course, backing it up with actual good content too.
Yeah. And do you use any headline testing? I know there's a couple of platforms out there where you can get a score on a headline. Do you use anything like that yourself, or know of anyone that uses something like that?
I don't, but that's not a bad idea. I think, I've been writing headlines for a very long time, so I've got a good general feel for what people respond to well. But I haven't used a headline tester as such. But I mean, that's certainly worth testing.
Yeah. I think it's. We'll get it in the show notes, but I think it's called Headline Analyzer.
There'd be a few around.
Yeah, is one of the best ones that I've seen. And what about structures? And I get, you said about being too robotic, etc. But I like to do my videos in a little format, and I can't remember exactly who I stole it from, but it was Poser, which is, what's the promise, what's the obstacle, what's the solution, what's an example, and then the R, they said it was a result, but for me, it's like, what's the call to action? How do I get more? Yep. So that's a little format. Have you got any formats you'd love to share?
Absolutely. The most common one for persuasive video is the AIDCA formula. So A is for attention. You grab people's attention at the beginning. I is for interest. Draw them in a bit, normally with a story. D is for desire, where you present the solution, for example, and the benefits of the solution. C is for conviction, where you provide a bit of proof that what you're saying is true. And then A is for action right at the end. So that's a really cool one for persuasive sort of videos or any kind of content. So one that I've developed myself that also works really well is, it doesn't sound as good, but it's good structure. It's ZICCTA. So let me go through that. The Z or the Z is for Zeigarnik, the Zeigarnik effect. And basically Zeigarnik was a Russian psychologist who did some experiments on her students. She found out that basically whenever she introduced some sort of suspense in her training, her students would pay more attention. And basically what it means is that you create some sort of an open loop right at the beginning of your video. So that's what the Z is for. It's a Zeigarnik effect. The I is for interest. So similar to the previous formula, but interest again. And here, what I love doing normally is just to tell a quick story of how you come up or were presented with some sort of a challenge or some sort of a problem that you didn't know how to overcome. And you had to go on some sort of a journey now to fix this, to find a solution to this problem. Then the next three letters are C, so S-E-E. So the S is basically for state, where you can state the main point that you want to talk about. The first E is for explain, and the second E is for example. So state, explain, example. And you can basically repeat that as many times if you want within the video. Like you can do it just once, or the most I'd probably do is 3 times to repeat the C, the state, explain, example. And then CTA at the end is just call to action. So once you're done with that, summarize it, and then you have a quick call to action to tell people what you'd like them to do. So that can be a really good structure for more content videos as well, because it's a bit more, it's a bit less persuasive in nature and a bit more content rich in nature compared to the AIDCA formula.
Excellent. Well, before we go into the live section, I'd like to help you to build your authority on LinkedIn in these difficult times. You can just go to blgclick.com and watch a pre-recorded free masterclass. You will learn 3 secrets. So one is learn the formula used by 1% of LinkedIn users to 10 times your views, especially on video. Secret 2 is get the 7 killer steps to turn views into engagements by your ideal clients. And the last one is convert engagements into clients by getting 80% response rates to your messages. You can just go to buildlivegive.com and watch my recorded free masterclass there. And many of the activities mentioned can be implemented by a virtual assistant, a VA. So if you don't have a VA and you'd like to learn about getting one, just go to buildlivegive.com/VA. So the next section, as I said, is the live section. So tell us about some of the daily habits that help you be successful, especially with living and working from home with 3 young children.
Oh gosh, habits at the moment is all over the show, to be honest. That's the honest truth. I had a nice routine before this whole thing came in, but now it's different. So the priorities have changed. It's interesting because family is very important, but I can't look after them unless we've got a good, successful business running. So that is also a priority. So it's difficult, juggling those balls, but we do our best. We've got some very clear distinction of responsibilities within their house now, even more so than other times. Certainly, the main responsibility of the business is mine. And for Tineke, my wife, she's graciously, looking after the 3 kids and mainly cooking food, and unless I can do a barbecue, that's pretty much all I can do in terms of cooking. And I can make good toast. But so that works well. But the other thing is, and this is difficult, especially if you're working from home now, is just being able to shut the door and be able to focus and get work done. I don't think it's a time to sit back and just relax. I think it's a time now to be on your guard and to do whatever you can to make sure you can survive through this uncertain time. And so I'm doing what I can to keep the business going and thriving. And yeah, it's just a different sort of a routine now with everybody at home.
Yeah, and what's a little bit of escape time for you? Like, where do you get some time other than shutting the door in the office? But do you I know at the moment we're in stage or phase 3 here in Australia. We both live in Australia, and there's only 4 reasons you can leave. But if you look at the exercise one, are you still getting a chance to get out of that office environment and do something different?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, my younger brother just broke his ankle a couple of weeks ago, and he just lives close by. So it's been good in a sense because I've gone to visit him every day to go for a walk, and then after the walk, I would go for a big bike ride, and to get some sort of exercise and in for the day. So that's quite a nice little break that I have during the day. But I mean, the other thing I do is at 4:00, which is pretty much now actually, I stop working, or I have been for the last few days. It's a new routine we're trying out, and where I just give my wife a bit of a break, and I say, look, you go and chill for at least an hour, and I look after the kids, play with them, just relax with them, maybe go for a walk with them or whatever. And while my wife then just goes and chills out for a bit, so that works well too. And so that gives me a bit of a break from the normal stuff I do. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, look, the next section's the give section, and you're, giving Tineke some time off, which is great. But what's another community or charity that you support and are passionate about?
So there's a great charity called charitywater.org. And, a while back we were thinking which kind of charity do we want to support? And so this is one that sort of came across our radar, and I really like them. I like the founder's story. But one cool feature about it is that it relates really well with Splasheo. I mean, Splasheo has this water element to it. And there's a lot of sort of spiritual significance to the water element as well. I mean, water is normally associated with spirit. And so there's that side of it. Water is also beautiful for representing, making an impact. So if you drop a little pebble into a pond of water, you see the little waves being made and making an impact. And oftentimes you see your impact is 90 degrees to your direction of travel. Buckminster Fuller talked about this. You don't often sometimes realize the impact you're making, but I think that's water again that sort of shows that very clearly. So yeah, looking at a charity like Charity Water I think that fits in really well with the Splasheo brand.
Excellent. Well, the last section is the action section, where I ask you some questions and get some rapid fire responses. So the first one is, what's your top 3 personal effectiveness tips?
All right. The first thing is just if you can focus and remove distraction and prevent any kind of multitasking as far as possible, you're going to do really well. That's number 1. The second one is more of a tool that I use for helping me do that, which is I combine Asana. You can use Trello as well, or piece of paper, but then with a special way of doing Kanban, where you can manage your tasks. And so basically I have, at the moment, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 main columns that I use. One is the first one is the inbox, where all my tasks go into. Anything that pops up during the day or when we brainstorm, it just goes in there, and it's not prioritized yet. Then the next column is today, what I want to get done for today. The third column is what I'm working on right now. Fourth column is called the pen, where this is from somebody else, this idea. It's not mine. I can't remember who it is, but the pen is basically where I pop tasks in that for some reason I can't finish them and I don't know what to do with them. And so they're in there so we can review them, decide what we need to do with them. And then I've got the done column. So I move all the tasks that are done into there. So I'm using Asana for that. It works really well. And the third tip is to work on a task until it's done. Instead of getting distracted, just work on it until it's done. Boom. Don't stop unless you're taking a bit of a break, but don't get distracted on starting another task until the first one is done.
Excellent.
That's a big difference.
The next question is, what's a bit of tech that you couldn't run your business without other than Splasheo itself?
There's actually quite a few, that we're quite dependent on. I mean, Slack is one, Asana, like I mentioned, Zoom. These are all sort of common ones. But one that's, I guess, maybe a little bit different that maybe your audience might be interested in as well is Ecamm Live. Now, it's designed for live streaming, but I actually use it for recording and editing my videos on the go. So basically as I'm recording it, I'm editing it. So it just allows you to do that, and you can record straight onto your hard drive. And basically by the time I press stop, I'm done. I'm ready to publish, other than getting it captioned, I'm ready to publish. And then I combine that with a little device called an Elgato Stream Deck and my DSLR camera and a nice microphone. And I'm able to create great video really, really easy and really, really quickly.
Great. And what sort of mic do you use? What's the brand of mic?
I've actually gone full circle. I used to use fancy, expensive Rode mics and got rid of them in exchange for an Audio Technica mic. It was like only $100 or something. And the sound quality is better. I'm just picking it up if you might hear some noises.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's Audio Technica AT2005 USB. That's the model number. And it's like, seriously, it's $150 or whatever. And I mean, for me, it's doing a better job than my Rode mic. So I couldn't believe it.
Excellent. And Acan, I think, is it ECANN?
Ecamm Live. That's ECAMM. Yes.
AMM.
Yeah, ECAMM. Yeah, for mother.
Right. Yeah, look, I think I used to use that for recording when I was on Skype back in the day.
Right. Yeah, that was Ecamm Recorder, call recorder. So this is different. This Ecamm, it's the same company,
Live.
but
Yes.
Ecamm Live. Yeah, it's like $10 a month or something. And it's totally worth it. It's incredible.
Great. And a source of your best source of new ideas for your business?
In general, books. I get a great lot of ideas for books, and that just sort of fills my mind with ideas, and then that percolates. Normally, when I'm in the shower, there's something that that pops out while I'm in the shower, and I used to have this little waterproof notepad in the shower, but now I just scribble on the wall.
Look, I don't know if you got it from the same person, but I got one from Jamie Masters when I joined.
Right,
group.
I've seen her talk about it. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I've got that, but I'm getting better at it. But now, because I listen to Alexa or my Echo device when I'm in the shower, the BBC News, etc., and I've just got to learn a way to also get it to record notes for me. So
yeah,
that'll
your
be
beautiful
my
singing.
Sorry.
Or your beautiful singing, right?
No, definitely not. That's why I listen to news. Keep everyone in the house happy. Mind you, they say that I have it too loud, but
right.
But I'm like, well, I'm in the shower; it's hard to hear. And look, the last question's the big one, right? I always save it to the last. But what impact do you want to leave on the world?
Well, I think one thing I realized about myself relatively recently was that I had an unconscious drive for significance. And I didn't realize that this was sort of putting a flavor on everything I was doing. It was like a lens that I was viewing life through. And I was always in search for this thing called significance. And as soon as I realized that, I thought, hey, wow, this is crazy. And, I thought this is only like for 5-year-olds, but how could I still be so old and still be wanting this and searching for this? But then I realized it was subconscious or unconscious. And then I realized there's a lot of other people around the world as well that are in that same boat, and they don't realize that there's this unconscious drive for significance, and not realizing that it possibly making them unhappy, because it's one of those things that you can search for all your life, but you can never quite get it. And so I then decided to want to help people to figure that out for themselves and help them realize that they are significant, that they do have worth, and that they can bring that worth to others as well. So it's like flipping the coin, like shifting the emphasis to searching for significance for yourself to helping giving it away to others. And it's that big paradox, of life. I think, it's the thing you've been searching for all your life is the very thing you need to be giving away. And in my case, it's been significance. So the impact I want to make is about helping people realize their own significance and helping them make an impact through their own worth and significance.
Excellent. Beautifully said. So I know I could go on forever. I've really enjoyed this, but we need to bring it to an end. But for everyone listening, Gideon's actually given us a fantastic free trial. So you can actually test the platform, Splasheo, and get 4 videos for free if you just go to Splasheo. So that's splasheo.com/BLG, and there'll be a landing page there that you can do the trial. But also you can see me actually using some of Gideon's products, which is Splasheo. So you can see some examples of some of the posts that I've been doing on LinkedIn. So once again, brilliant to have you on, and really love the product and look forward to a lot more people listening here using it, because I think this whole coronavirus is definitely one of the silver linings out of this, is that you're seeing big stars at the moment just being natural on video at home. And I think, you can do a video nice and easy, and if it takes 20 seconds to make it look a lot better and professional and get more engagements, well, to me, that's a fantastic thing. So once again, Gideon, thanks for being on.
Thank you, Paul. It was a real pleasure and real privilege. Thank you so much.
Cheers. Thank you. Bye. Look, there's such great advice from Gideon in the show. So you can get all the show notes where we've mentioned everything at buildlivegive.com. If you believe someone would benefit from the show, please share. Gideon would love to get your feedback and appreciation on LinkedIn. His profile will be in the show notes. You can learn the 3 secrets to build your authority on LinkedIn in a free pre-recorded masterclass at blgclick.com. Please take action to build your business and lifestyle, and in these uncertain times, stay well.
Thank you for listening to the Build, Live, Give podcast. If you like what you heard, please subscribe and leave us a review. It would mean the world to us.